Hello and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are looking at the all new Force India 2017 Challenger as the VJMO10 has been launched today here at Silverstone. So a new moment. Obviously Force India got their best ever result last year with the pairing of Sergio Perez and the current Renault Formula 1 driver Nico Hülkenberg. They were able to get fourth in the championship, beating the likes of Williams and McLaren and Renault in the Constructors' Championship last season. But with a brand new set of regulations, this could be an all new ball game for Force India. Obviously still backed with a Mercedes power unit and with a great load of technical staff, including Bob Fernley. I still think they'll be up there, but perhaps these regulations are going to bring Force India down to reality somewhat, as I think they'll struggle to be the likes of McLaren and Renault this season. But anyway, that's enough babbling. Let's get into the car. So again, I'm just looking at my monitor over there at the car, so you see my head kind of whizzle around in this direction. So if we look at the front wing to start with, it has the same level of complexity as I would say it's more towards the Renault than the Sauber kind of level. They've got different kind of elements going on in terms of air mixing and wanting to redirect that air flow in terms of the vortex generators at the front, and obviously you have those end parts to the wing. It's a more kind of an Etch-a-Sketch than a boomerang. It's in much more studded parts than we've seen with the Sauber and with the Renault. It's still in that boomerang style shape, but it's a more kind of oblongy shape to the boomerang, which is a bit unusual. Obviously a little bit difficult to see with the lighting what's exactly going on this front wing, but my initial impressions are you've got lots of end plate elements to try and redirect the airflow either more towards the suspension or beyond the width of that tyre. That's what they're going for there, and trying to obviously encourage the air mixing to go on and the end plate of the wing in order to have a nice cleaner cut through the air. And then the actual nose section itself, it's more curved than we've seen with the Renault and the Sauber. This is a new approach by Force India. Obviously they've had their nostril front nose the last 2 seasons. Now they've gone for more traditional style nose with a kind of a rounded nose with 2 slot gaps, so kind of still keeping that nostril element but in a more conventional way. So that's how they're generating their airflow, and obviously the airflow is underneath to generate more downforce underneath the car as well. Then just slightly behind that you have an S duct. As you can see, you have quite a clear S duct. I do apologise, I forgot to pick that out on the video yesterday, but the Renault also has a very clear S duct, as well as that sticky out bit by the side of the nose. You can clearly see that again with the Force India. And the brakes again, more like the Renault compared to the Sauber. They've got quite big studded brakes, and a drop down between the higher platform and the lower platform is more pronounced, with that S-duct system going on and trying to optimize the aerodynamic efficiency of those 2 parts of this chassis to meet the FIA requirements on what's going on there. And then as we look further back, you have the side pods. Quite a thin packaging going on, like we've seen with all the teams. They're not exploiting the full width of the car that they're allowed, up to 1800 millimeters in width. The floor is 1800, but the side pods itself are just 1600, because it's more aerodynamically efficient to have a smaller package than having a wider package that has a large surface area that the air can hit and is stopped, which increases your drag and therefore obviously reduces the efficiency that it cuts through the air. So yeah, again, it's a similar sort of thing that's going on there. And again, you have aerodynamic features on the floor of the car to try and redirect that airflow as it passes by. A slightly less traditional kind of inlet to the side pod. It's more concave than we saw in the Sauber, especially. Renault is a little bit less traditional, but this has gone another step further, I think. And then as you move a little bit further back, is where obviously I have to pick out the shark fin at this point, because that is the most different thing compared to the Renault and the Sauber. Obviously, I'm making these comparisons as all the cars are coming out, and you can see the kind of the relatively pecking order between them. Personally, I think the other design is better than this, but what they've done is they've basically made a huge square shark fin, a huge rectangular shark fin with an end kind of more curved, which kind of defeats the point. It's a slightly less pronounced, less well-oiled shark fin than what we're getting with the Renault and the Sauber. Obviously, that is to increase efficiency in order for the air to flow over the rear wing, and so it doesn't hit the rear wing and that slows it down, etc. And also to stop a tailwind. Obviously, tailwind places like Silverstone, which is obviously a very open airfield, and places like Spa, and where else is very exposed. I don't know, Malaysia is quite exposed as well. It could help with that. It could help with the stability at those kind of circuits, but it's a bit too big in terms of that sense. It's got a bit too of a big surface area on it, and the end plate point on the shark fin is, as I say, it's more curved, and I don't think it's going to have as much as an effect as even the one on the Sauber, to be brutally honest. So that's an area Force India need to work on over testing and reconsider the way their shark fin works, I think. Obviously, I'm no expert. I'm not even doing a degree in aerospace engineering or anything. I'm doing a degree in history, for God's sake. But from my experience of being a Formula 1 watcher for 11 years, you know, I can pick out these kind of aerodynamic infringements, and I can make a good judgment and say that is not a it obviously it is a pretty good design, you know, they're bloody Formula 1 engineers, but I think the Renault and the Sauber are better, and I think in order for them to be at the level they were at last year, they need to redefine that shark fin by Melbourne. Then looking more towards the back, you can see visually the rear wing looks more aggressive than on the Renault and the Sauber, and then as we look at the exhaust, you can see how big the exhaust is compared to the others, and even compared to the Renault and the Sauber, it's much more aggressive, and they're able to use that to their advantage, and I imagine the cars are going to be much more louder and more powerful. The exhaust manifold are generating more downforce, more efficient. So yeah, it's going to pick up anything else, just having a final look. Obviously the general package towards the end, you've got a quite nice Coke bottle shape going on towards the rear of the car, and the airbox is a three-part system. It's divided into 3 bits, which is potentially what's going on with the Mercedes. Obviously, Sauber had a 2016 Ferrari power unit. Renault, obviously the works Renault, and that was divided into 4 bits, was the airbox, and the Mercedes powered Force India is divided into 3 bits, which is potentially suggestive of the way the Mercedes is packaged. The Renault, not quite as well packaged as the Force India towards the back, but the Renault, it's just a very gawping shark fin. That's what I'm picking out. I just keep looking at it, I'm just thinking that shark fin is just not right. that's the one big thing that is frustrating me. But the rest of it is nicely packaged, and I think this is going to be a good grounding point for Force India to start the season. So we'll see how they get on in testing. Obviously, the lineup of Sergio, Perez and Esteban Ocon. Personally, I think they'll be fighting Renault for 5th place in the championship, and we'll have to see how it goes. So yeah, that's the Force India, and tomorrow will be the Mercedes. So let's see how the championship winning car from the past 3 seasons gets on with the new regulations. But until then, thank you for watching, and goodbye.